this is Jo from Maths Tutor Me. Today we're doing fractions and we're going to be doing order of operations with fractions. So one thing that I say at pretty much the end of every single one of my lessons is to keep practicing. So I really hope that you've been practicing your fractions, because today we're going to be combining all the things that we've learned about adding and subtracting, multiplying, dividing, ofs, improper and mixed numeral, fractions, all sorts of things all in together here. So it's really important that you're feeling confident with each of your skills of adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing fractions. Okay? So with order of operations today, we have a certain order that you have to do things in order to get the correct answer. So first of all, you should always do brackets and of first. So if something says of, you should do that first. Then in the second step, you should do any multiplication and division. If there's both multiplication and division, you just work from left to right as you go across the page. And thirdly, the last thing that you do is any addition and subtraction from left to right. Okay? So let's have a look at these questions. We have here for question number 1, we have two fractions being subtracted, but they're in brackets. So because they're in brackets, that jumps up to the beginning of the list. We have to do the brackets first. Okay, so to work out what is in the brackets, we are subtracting, so we need a common denominator. So 5 and 2, the common denominator will be 10. All right. This fraction has been multiplied by 2, so 3 times 2 is 6. This fraction is multiplied by 5, so 1 times 5 is 5. Okay, we're just going to write the little 5/8 here at the end. Okay, we still haven't worked out the brackets, so we have to keep going with that. On the next line, we can subtract the numerators. 6 minus 5 is 1 over 10. Okay, that's as simple as it's going to get for that part of the question. Now we can do multiply by 5 over 8. Okay, to do a multiplication, we always look for any simplifying that can be done. The 10 and the 5, we can divide those by 5 to get a 2 here and a 1 there. Multiplying the numerators, 1 times 1 is 1, and 2 times 8 is 16. And that's your answer. Let's see all that again. Let's do it again for question 2. 7 divided by a third of 6/7. Okay, so we want to divide 7. 7 needs to be divided by whatever this is. So of is up here in the first line. We have to do this part first. So leave the 7 out the front and the divide sign. Let's put this part in some brackets. We have to do that first. A third of means times 6 over 7. Now when you're multiplying, looking for cancelling, the 3 and the 6, we can divide by 3 to get a 1 and a 2. Okay? Multiplying across the top, 1 times 2 is 2, and 1 times 7 is 7. Now that that's simplified as much as possible, we can do the divide. Now, to do a divide, we always change it into a times and flip the second fraction upside down to become a 7 over 2. The whole number at the front here, we put it over a 1. 7 times 7 is 49 over 2 times 1, which is 2. 49 divided by 2 goes 24 times with a 1 remainder, so 24 and a half. Question 3. Again, we have brackets here. The brackets is going to need to be done first and then the divide. But we also have lots of mixed numerals in here. So let's change everything into improper fractions. The 5 will stay on the bottom. 3 times 5 is 15 plus 1 is 16. Minus 4 is on the bottom. 4 2s are 8 plus 1 is 9. Okay, we still have to do some more on that. The divide, while we're at it, we might as well change this to an improper fraction. 5 on the bottom, 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 more is 7. Right, working on the brackets, we need a common denominator when we're subtracting. So 20 is going to be the common denominator. That means I have to multiply this fraction by 4. So I have to multiply 16 by 4. Now to do that, I would double it to get 32 and then double it again to get 64. You could do a little calculation on the side if you prefer. This second fraction here, we need to multiply by 5 to get that. So multiplying 9 5s, we get 45. Okay, we still haven't completely simplified that, so we keep writing all these other things down. Now we want to subtract 64 minus 45 is 19 out of 20. All right, now we're ready to do the divide. So let's change our divide into a times and turn the fraction upside down to get a 5/7. Let's look for cancelling. The 20 and the 5, we can divide by 5 to get 4 and 1. So on the top we have 19 times 1, which is just 19, and 4 times 7 is 28, and that's the answer. Okay, so you can see why it's very important that you're confident with each of your rules that we've been learning about for the past few lessons. It's time for you to practice. So I'm only giving you 2 questions today because these questions can be long. So pause the video and give these 2 questions a go and then restart to see the answer. So for number 1, we want 3/4 of bracket 5/9 minus 7/5. So brackets and of need to happen first, but if we need to find 3/4 of this, we're going to need to know what this is first. So let's find out what the brackets are. So 3/4 is going to sit at the front. Instead of, we can write times. And we're doing a subtraction, so we need a common denominator. So 9 and 15, the smallest denominator we could get would be 45. Okay, you can use larger denominators, but it just makes life difficult with big numbers that you have to work with. So this has to be multiplied by 5, so multiplying the top by 5, we get 25. 15 times 3 would give us this, so we have to multiply 7 by 3 to get 21. So leaving the 3/4 at the front still. Subtracting the fractions, 25 minus 21 would be 4/45. Now we can do the multiplication. We can simplify 4 and 4. If we divide by 4, we just give us 1s. And 3 and 45, we can divide both of those by 3, which is a 1 there and a 15 there. So all that is left is 1 times 1, which is 1 on the top, and 1 times 15, which is 15 on the bottom. So the answer is 1/15. Question 2. We have some mixed numerals in here, so let's rewrite this question with improper fractions. So the 4 on the bottom will stay on the bottom. 2 4s are 8, plus 1 is 9, plus 5/6, that one's not going to change, times by 3 on the bottom. So 3 times 1 is 3, plus another 1 is 4. Now, the order of operations says that we need to do the multiplication before we do the addition, okay? Because this was the last step, addition was last step, so this multiplication has to happen first. So we leave the 9/4 sitting at the front, and we have to multiply these 2 numbers. So we can simplify the 6 and the 4, divide by 2 to get a 3 and a 2 there. Then we can multiply 5 times 2 is 10. So we've got a plus sign, 10 over 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, now that the multiplication is done, we can do the addition, the last step. We need a common denominator. So for 4 and 9, we would use 36. This fraction needs to be multiplied by 9. So 9 9s are 81. This fraction's multiplied by 4, so 4 times 10 is 40. Adding together, 81 plus 40 is 121 over 36. Now the tricky part for this question is trying to work out how many times 36 goes into that. So maybe over here on the side, you could do 36 plus 36. Let's see what that gives us. We'd get a 2 there, and 3 plus 3 plus another 1 is 7. All right, let's try and add on another 36 down here. So 2 plus that, that's 8, and that makes 10. Oh, we're definitely not going to fit another 36 in there. So we have 1, 2, 3 36s that we've added together to get to 108, which means, just forget the hundreds, we want to do 21 minus 8, which would mean we would have 13 over 36 to write that as a mixed numeral. Hopefully you got that answer. That's the end of this lesson, and we've come to the end of our topic. We are going to have a revision lesson and some challenge questions coming up next. So keep practicing and join me then. Bye.